Hello everyone, it's been a while. Today I want to show you what I've been working on the last 3 months or so after taking some pause with Trainz. Um, my big wish all the time was to update the CMTM scripts and the portal and whatever comes with it. And back then it was hard to find a developer, and now I got some solution, and the big thing was to get CMTM, let's say, future ready and up to date with the build. We are now in build 5.6. I think the current beta tests on 5.7. I might try that at some point, but I'm focusing on this one. To do this, we set the compatibility mode to show errors on legacy cores. So we get warnings whenever we use an old script, old function or so. And normally you play in maximize compatibility to have some, let's say, to be able to use scripts for assets that are 20 years old or so. The basic functionality has been tested bit by bit. We're using the progressive rail Jesse James line from SAP Master Sergeant. But at one point I wanted to know how does it perform on a big route? Because it makes more sense if you have lots of space, lots of cars, you can shuffle around, move from one industry to the next. And then, of course, you need a route that supports this. I found this Norfolk Southern Yard module. It has been prepared already for CMTM. I just updated it. Not all assets on the route are, let's say, working perfectly. The signals, for example, using old scripts in this game mode, they did not work perfectly fine. We modified it a bit, so at least they are functioning. The signals, for example, were only showing red. That was a bit confusing when the trains pass through. But they are not the main focus. So before we start, let me show you around. Mouse. Let me show you around a bit. So it's a typical American shape, like a gun. So we are somewhere in the middle of America, more or less middle. Let's go from east. We have one track with a portal set up to Cleveland. From and to Cleveland, south east to Pittsburgh, and an entrance portal. So it's double track and right-hand traffic. So 2 portals there. Again, 2 portals in the south for Columbus, and the entrance one. To the west we have Fort Wayne and the entrance, and Toledo only has 1 portal, goes in both directions, and Sandusky. This is a very interesting spot if you continue there. Okay, let's have a quick fly over this. Main objective of this route is, well, the yard. For me, it's just a lot of space and a lot of portals. And a yard works like a yard does. You might know it, maybe not. A big yard consists of a few, let's say, standard areas. The first one is where the receiving yard is, or it's called receiving yard, where the trains arrive that are to be taken apart and then sorted, but here they just arrive. At some point they go over the hump, get sorted into the bowl, or classification yard, however you want to call it. Already some cars are here, so basically one track per direction, and they are taken out to the departure yard where they are assembled to the outgoing train. Then you just put in a set of locos in one or the other end or both end, depends, and then they are sent off. I already also placed some cars just for decoration. Here's the ECS storage, empty car storage for well cars, but they don't play a role, just as decoration. I have set up one or two industries. I might do them at the end. Let's see. It takes about an hour to go through this, let's say, session, more or less session. It's not a gameplay session, so I won't play it. It's more for, let's say, railfanning and showing around a bit. I won't talk that much, only now and then. Just focusing on the CMTM part. I think I have 10 trains set up to run across the route. Just imagine you can do some local service and you have this traffic gives a bit life to the whole scene. Okay, I think time to start. As usual, select the day, and we implemented some let's say startup phase, because the initialization, the scanning of the route with the lots of cars takes a while. So for rail fans. Done. We have 35 trains placed somewhere on this route. Okay, CMTM data gets assigned to the trains, and we're starting up. Yeah, and the load indicator is also added. The trains move just by commands set up. First thing you notice, there is now a drive mode and a CMTM mode. You can switch between them. Of course, you can find cars. As you see, there are quite a lot set up around the route. I will spend most of the time in the CMTM mode. Currently no train is selected, that's why I don't see anything. Let's hop into this one. So the main reason why we split it was during the testing it was not really reliable that the car you clicked is the one that receives the record from the database where you want to give it on ECS cars. And also it was even more frustrating that the junction setting did not work, and also decoupling cars did not work. So we said, okay, let's split it. Do we do drive activities, then use the drive mode like junctions and decoupling? Do we add or interact with CMTM specific functions? Use the CMTM. Takes a bit to get used to it, but it works reliably, at least for as much as I could test. Also, I will activate the drivers, so you should be able to see when new drivers are coming into the scene. As I said, I have like 9 portals, if I'm not mistaken. I set up 10 trains. The past years, I think there was a limit of like 7 trains or so, and then all the trains coming from portals resulted in ghost trains. That's why I wanted to have at least 10 trains in this test session. Okay, this one from the east. The nice thing is you basically see the destinations. Almost all trains are just passing through. Two or so are going to the receiving yard, like this one, but it only has 3 cars, 2 with random load. Last time I had a helicopter, it was quite nice, or a transformator, and an empty flat car. One for local service at the end. But let me use the time to give a quick fly through the receiving yard. You can see quite mixed load for various destinations. This one as well. Storage ready to. Strings in the bowl, the cars that have been sorted by the hump yard. I don't like this, but they're nicely sorted by the yard, ready to be taken out of this area. Same for this string and the last one, Toledo. And on the departure area, basically the cars that have been taken out of the bowl already, ready to be put into a train or just at a local service. Also, one destination per track. This one arrives at the receiving yard, and we have a few more trains. This train was actually a kind of test if I can confirm the functionality that the empty car storage can be separated by the reporting mark. So I set up a few reporting marks for CS, XT, UP, and so on, and also some or one, let's say, general ECS. This train only features cars of the type covered hopper, XHT, just from different companies. This one will stop somewhere there and do nothing anymore. I won't work with that. One of the cars goes to road industries. Let's see what else we do have here. Automobile train. That's a fun one. This one I used to try to see how long can the trains be. So we started very conservative, limited the train length to a fixed limit. We started with 3, 10 or so, and then 35 cars. And this one was used for the, let's say, latest stage, that we determine how long can the train be to be safely emitted. So we basically compare or estimate the train length and see if we have enough space to let it come on route. If this will not happen, then you see a message that the train is too long. This is some topic for later. As you can see, I tried to use only cars with a reporting mark and the number. Didn't work with all of them. I changed a lot of them, the assets directly on my system, so I won't upload this. Quite astonishing how many assets to have the wrong category or don't have reporting marks. signal aspect just was an illusion. I haven't seen it. One more thing you might have noticed, there's a car delivered counter on top. Whenever a car gets delivered to the correct portal, then it also increases. This is the last train coming from the portal. When it spawns, it does not carry the CMTM data yet. It's still under control of the portal. now the portal is done, the train comes to an halt. Then the CMTM data is added and the commodities brought to the cars, and then the sequence of the commands to start. Here this train carries a few cars for local industries, and this one basically coming from the west, going now the complete way to the receiving yard. That's the last train for this session. now as all the portal trains are gone, or almost gone, let's do a few minutes. The rest, junctions don't work in CMTM mode, so So basically this should be it for today. Thanks for watching. Bye.